You're watching Nappicast by Jason Nappy Weather. The tropics are heating up. We'll get to the first tropical storm of the season later today in the eastern Pacific. And we've got high pressure building in across the country right now with a boundary here. You see that here, right over the mid-south, the southeast, heading up towards just off the coast of New Jersey here. You've got that boundary there. That's the dividing line right now between where it's hot and it's a bit on the chilly side. Off in the northwest, you've got a front coming through right here. There's your next cold front, Pacific Northwest. And down here out in the eastern Pacific, you're going to see rain start to push into Southern California. And a portion of the Four Corners, that's going to be from the first tropical storm of the season. Let's take a look at it on satellite imagery right now across the country. You see that cloud cover. So again, here's all this cloud cover, moisture coming in from the Gulf, and it'll continue to move up the coast here. You've got that low pressure system right here, and that's going to push off east, and then we'll get energy to come down from the north, from Canada, and that's going to spawn and combine with the energy from the south to give us a pretty good helping of rain later Friday to Saturday, and especially the East Coast and Northeast. You see all the clearing going on in California right now, but look at this moisture coming up from the south. Eventually, you're going to see a tropical storm, right, as we get into the forecast here. Temperatures where you see that boundary I showed you, so it's cooler to the north of this line. Here's your little spin going on right there. That's your low pressure system off the coast of New Jersey. Gave them a bunch of rain, right? So here we go with temperatures cooling here on the northern side of this boundary, but heating up in Florida. Another day where the 90s are going to be widespread south of that boundary. And here it is as far as the precip goes. So low pressure right now off the coast of New Jersey. That's going to really just kind of peel off over Long Island and the South Shore of Boston. Not a lot of rain in New England today. But notice here, down to the south in the Gulf here, you see you got a bunch of precip coming into the southeast. So there is a threat for severe weather. It is a low threat, but there is a threat in the forecast today, and I'll get into tomorrow as well. But as we get into the last couple of days of May here comes that next system. This is the one I want to show you. So this one here, right over the mid-Atlantic, is going to combine with energy here and push a pretty good soaker for basically May 31st in the forecast, and you see into June 1st too. So there is more precip coming down the pipeline. Now the tropics here, nothing in the Atlantic to worry about right now. I'll get into the long range stuff, but I do want to show you the Eastern Pacific. This is going to be, right now it's basically Tropical Depression 1. It is going to be a tropical storm later today, so it's sometime this afternoon. And then that pushes up here. We'll see if it gets up into the Baja, but definitely Mexico is going to see rain from this in the next few days into the weekend. It's nothing to really worry about in the States with that, but they need the rain. Look at how dry it has been here. If it does make it to a place like Southern California, look at here. Look at all of this down the Four Corners. So desperately need the rain there. Look at how clear. No drought in the southeast, Mississippi River Valley right here. There is no drought. Also no drought here. Well, obviously, we got a bunch of rain. Look at the precipitation for the last 365 days. Okay, so go back 365 days and look at all of this, right? Okay, and also up here. So big drought removal, and look at where it has been very dry, right? So you see here several inches. This is up around 60, 75 inches of rainfall in the southeast especially. So no drought there. Drought removal completely gone in the southeast thanks to all that rain in the last 365. So here's the forecast now. I'll take you through the next 1, 2, 3 days and watch this storm get going. This is going to be an area of low pressure that forms here, okay? And that's going to be the one that ends up right here over New England, okay? It's going to combine with energy coming down from the north here. I'll show you the upper level in a second here. So there will definitely be another weekend. It's about the 10th, 11th, 12th, depends what you call it, you count Fridays or not, weekend in a row with rain up in New England. Here we go. So severe parameters are not high today. The highest we get to is a level 2, a slight threat. So level 2 out of 5, central Texas, and then also out here, Georgia, Carolina. We got low pressure coming in right here, that's spawning up. Okay, so not a lot of activity for severe weather today. I'll go into tomorrow. You're going to watch this. Let this load. I'll show you where the next area is going to be for tomorrow. And there is another threat. It is also a pretty low-end threat in the forecast here while this loads here. But it is a level 2, as we're going to have the system I showed you right here, low pressure, and you're going to have a front. So a level 2 out of 5 from basically Virginia down to Georgia, Carolina, and we'll see how far it gets down to Alabama right there. So that is a level 2 out of 5. So level 2 threat. So you're going to have some gusty wind. You're going to have some small hail. And there's a brief opportunity here for a tornado. We'll go ahead and pull that up for you too. A level 2 threat. Let me pull that up. So it's a 2% there threat. So watch out with that front coming through. Now I want to show you the weather pattern and up in the atmosphere, up in the sky. This is the weather highway. So this is a lot of the fuel for these storms, the storm energy. And right here for tomorrow, here is your threat for severe weather. You've got this trough coming through. Let me go ahead and make this bigger. This thing likes to get smaller on me. But here's going to be your area of low pressure. Here's your front. That's going to come through tomorrow down towards the southeast. And as that does so, it will spawn, once again, that threat for severe weather. Then, as we get into Friday and Saturday, that storm energy right here that rounds the base of this trough goes that way. Here's the engine for the storm in Canada. So that's going to pull this north, okay? And then look here, Pacific Northwest. There is your tropical storm, okay? So that tropical storm pushes up. We'll see if it goes up into the Baja or not. But right now, at the very least, the upper level energy is to the west of where that storm is going to be. Okay, so there's the threat for severe weather and also the rain, the soaker that's coming to New England. And it's a pretty big trough. Look at how big this trough is by Sunday. And with cold air aloft up in the sky, up in the atmosphere, I do expect some snow at Mount Washington, which is right around here, okay, in New Hampshire. So you've got your big upper level low spinning, and there's your tropical storm that's going to push into Southern California. This is Sunday. This is for the weekend, okay? And then we'll go out a little bit here, and I'll show you that another trough comes through, and then it gets cut off. This is June 5th. Look what happens here with this feature. Now, I don't expect this to be tropical, but you've got an upper level low spinning off the coast of New Jersey and New York. This is middle of next week, okay? Right behind this, this ridge here that builds in from the west. So we'll see about that as we get into the middle of the second week, middle of the first week of June next week. That pulls up. It could be another storm for the weekend, next weekend, but we don't want to do 12, 13, or whatever, 14 in a row. So we'll hold off on that. Now, the European model here squashes this energy from a potential tropical system for June 10th that coming down from either out of the Caribbean or in the Atlantic over towards the MDR, the main development region. So the GFS, oddly enough, is going to blow this system up a bit and bring it into Florida. Now, I don't put a lot of stock in the GFS period. I certainly don't do a lot of it this far out, but I will show you that feature. That does not mean we're going to see a tropical storm or a hurricane in June over Florida right now, but the GFS thinks there will be. You see that here with the upper level portion of the atmosphere. That goes up to Georgia, Carolina. There is the potential, okay, the opportunity on the GFS. If that continues to pan out as far as the atmospheric conditions, you also have a lot of Saharan dust coming in too. So that's going to have to sneak in between the waves of dust coming in that suppresses tropical moisture. So we'll see about June 10th and 11th. Right now, I don't put a lot of stock in the GFS that far out or even period. So here's the precipitation today and tomorrow, and really especially by Friday and Saturday. That's when we get a little phasing, a little combining of storm energy right here over New Jersey. Here is your storm for the weekend for late Friday into Saturday that pulls up into the northeast. You've got your big trough, and then here's your ridge, okay? As we get into the weekend, and this is the next few days, there goes your precipitation up into pretty much a soaker on Saturday, a washout. And then here is your tropical feature that get pulled up into the Baja, into the desert Southwest. Here's your moisture. Not a lot, but they'll take every drop out there in the desert, okay? And that gets pulled in for Sunday, Saturday, Sunday into Monday out into the Four Corners region. So that tropical storm basically gets pulled in and then it just kind of falls apart. And then into the middle of June, here's your next front that's coming through. Here's your low pressure. Here's your front. And there's an opportunity there for some severe weather as that comes through. Now, temperature-wise, the next few days here are going to really heat up in the south where you have that, where you're north of that boundary here. Obviously, you've got pretty much full-on summer going on in Texas. That's been happening quite a bit with those temperatures there spiking in Texas and then Florida in the 90s. Okay, you can see that going on. But overall, you look at how much cooler it's going to be. This is for Friday, okay? Look at the temperatures here on Friday, how much cooler it is on Friday because you have that boundary that's pulled all that cool air down from the north here. So that, once again, that's on Friday, okay? And then as that boundary starts to push north and move out of here, we do warm up. But look at the weekend in New England, 50s and 60s for highs. Now, it's not going to be as cold as it was last weekend, but it will be on the chilly side. So I hope you appreciate that look at things right there. I'm going to switch over now and talk about my followers, my loyal followers in Maine. So if you're watching from Maine, you can stick around for that. We'll get a little closer to the Maine forecast right now with clouds and fog. And that's going to be happening today and tomorrow. Rain Saturday and Sunday. And the heaviest is going to be on Saturday. So right now, move your plans to Sunday, although it's not going to be dry on Sunday. There's a mixture of clouds and sun right now. And just soak it all up because we're getting into fog and a lot more fog tonight in the forecast and the cloud cover. Okay, so here's the forecast the next 10 days. You see that here in the mountains. Basically, this is the western Maine mountains, also heading up Katahdin north. 60s to 70, a few showers, but then it's a washout on Saturday. On Sunday, scattered showers in the forecast, 52. That's it for the high. And then make a run for the 80s next week. And then we are in the 70s for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday of next weekend in the forecast there. Inland, it is going to be 77 tomorrow, 62, 63. So it's a washout Saturday, although not as cold as last weekend's washout. And then we make a run for the 70s, 80s. Big ridge comes in. So it looks a lot more like spring and even summer in the forecast next week with that ridge coming in. So it is a washout the coastline on Saturday, about a half to 1 inch of precip. And then on Sunday, 64, Monday, 68. We've got 70s next week, though, so more of that late spring, almost early summer feel. Technically, summer begins, for meteorologically speaking, on June 1st, where temperatures begin to warm up just in time there. Thank you for watching Nappicast and Jason Nappy Weather.